Greek philosopher Plato once said, "He was a wise man who invented beer." Throughout the ages, humans have felt the urge to create this delicious beverage. So much so that archaeologists believe it to be one of the driving forces towards agricultural life. We have stories and writings of beer that date back to 2500 BC. From a prayer to a goddess, to ancient advice, to some of the earliest known written works, beer has survived the test of time. It has been a drink for the ages, from the Middle Ages when it was safer to drink than water, to 500 AD when monks brewed it for sustenance during fasts. The Industrial Revolution in 1750 created equipment to mass-produce beer, and that changed everything. The term microbrewery relates to its size and was first coined in 1970. Microbreweries can still be considered small, however, the important number is based on how many barrels are produced a year. This size allows microbrews to be creative in their beer-making process and leads to various different flavors for everyone to enjoy. Originally beginning in the United Kingdom, microbrews have boomed since the 1970s. As of 2013, around 2,300 craft breweries exist in the United States and employ over 100,000 people. Here in Ypsilanti, we have our answer. Look no further than the Arbor Brewing Company microbrewery. The Arbor Brewing Company, or ABC for short, opened in 1995. Matt and Renee Greff, the couple who started it all, shared a passion for beer and adventure and began their business in Ann Arbor.
When we decided we wanted to do something together, and we were working corporate jobs, and we decided let's do something together, something we're passionate about, something we love. So we jumped in as only naive 27-year-olds could do and think, how could this possibly fail? So we did. We just dove in, and it's the best decision we've ever made.
This decision made the Arbor Brewing Company the first microbrewery in Ann Arbor and the fifth to open in Michigan. After surviving the tough first few years of any new business, Arbor Brewing Company decided to expand into Ypsilanti as the Corner Brewery. The name was changed December of 2013 to what we know now as the Arbor Brewing Company microbrewery. As Ypsilanti natives, the Greffs felt the need to give back to the community and help get it back on its feet. And give they did, soon becoming a regional must-go destination and a favorite local hangout, as well as giving back to the community by hosting events for non-profit organizations, buying local products, and making sure to keep everything eco-friendly. Reaching out to the Ypsilanti community comes naturally to Matt and Renee. When the Ypsilanti Farmers Market struggled to find a location, they opened the doors to the brewery. Hosted every Tuesday from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. during the winter months, people can shop around and find locally grown fruits and vegetables, handmade quilts, and many other homemade products. Along with opening their doors to many fundraisers, they both sit on several civic and local nonprofit boards, such as Ypsilanti Planning and Brownfield Commission, the Ypsilanti DDA, Think Local First, and the Michigan Brewers Guild, just to name a few. Buying local is a commitment to ABC Microbrewery. By buying local, it helps keep the money flowing through the community, but it also reduces the fuel miles that go into the beer and food that is served. They even allow Eastern Michigan University biology students to participate in an event called the Rat Pad, where they allow the students to come up with their own beer flavors.
In this program, it's designed so that experimental brewers, home brewers, anybody, can go ahead and make up 10-gallon batches. And they use supplies primarily provided by the corner itself. It's much more of an art form of what would taste good, how can we explore this? And it's important to think of it as a combination of both science and of art.
While that connection may sound unrelated, yeast is the tie that binds the seemingly different science of biology and the brewing process. Yeast are single-celled microorganisms that play the most important part in the beer-making process. They are responsible for converting fermentable sugars into alcohol. In the past, before we knew about the science behind beer making, there were only two types of yeast, ale and lager. The main difference between the two was the temperatures at which they best ferment. Fermentation is the process where the yeast converts the sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. Nowadays, there are hundreds of strands of yeast for beer makers to choose from to create their beers, and the sky is the limit. However, yeast is only one part of the beer making process. First is a process called malting, where the barley grain is made ready for brewing. Once the grain becomes malt through that process, mashing occurs. Mashing converts the starches into sugars that can be fermented through mixing the malt and hot water to create a cereal mash. It is during this phase that a liquid called wort is created. Wort is the adhesive to connect the flavors. It's the key to the fermentation stage. When the craft beers are complete, it's on to bottling. The unlabeled empty bottles are moved from the crate and loaded onto the conveyor belt. From here, the bottles are labeled and funneled into a covered area, rotated upside down and washed from the inside. After this step, the bottles are lifted into a rotating machine, where the bottles are infused with the beer and carbonation to keep out any oxygen. Then they are rotated to a lower level that fills the rest of the bottle with carbonated water and capped. This is the last step of the bottling process before packaging and on to its next destination. In a joint effort with Eastern Michigan University, EMU students get to see this process live, constantly checking the progress of their creation and seeing it at every step.
Jim Vandenbosch in the biology department contacted our brewery engineer several years ago and said, there's nothing like a hands-on, demonstration of how biology works, for students, and what could be more fun for students than actually making beer. So for 8 years now, we've got 2 of his sessions come through and make a batch of beer. And when he pitched it to us, we're like, we're always looking for ways to basically gain more friends and partners in the community.
While Professor Vandenbosch is retiring from EMU, Matt Greff is looking to keep the relationship alive. The Arbor Brewing Company strives to be as eco-friendly as possible. Environmental responsibility is a core value of ABC, becoming charter members of the Washtenaw County Waste Not program in 1997. According to the Greffs, reducing our waste stream is a company-wide effort that involves everyone from the kitchen, brewery, office, and wait staff. As part of their commitment to remain eco-friendly, ABC Microbrewery completed a $250,000 green brewery project as part of a $1 million expansion and renovation. This included solar thermal, photovoltaic, and geothermal technologies, along with other improvements like new windows, solar awnings lining the roof, and energy-efficient chilling equipment.
We actually had a student group from the School of Natural Resources come through and do a cost-benefit of adding some renewable energy components to our expansion project that we were doing 3 years ago. And what we discovered was it's going to pay for itself. And it's something that we feel very strongly about, but then actually having tangible numbers to say, if we invest this much money, we'll get our return on investment in 9 years, and then after that, we really can have a little bit more control over our energy costs.
The renovation is the largest capacity solar installation of any craft brewery east of Colorado. Michigan has become one of the leaders in the microbrewery world. Grand Rapids was deemed Beer City, USA in 2013. Colorado State University and Appalachian State University now offer bachelor degrees in fermentation science. And with the Arbor Brewing Company becoming a more and more popular name in the industry, could this be in Eastern Michigan University's future?
We may very well have a formal program in fermentation science here in another year or two.
One thing is for certain, beer isn't going anywhere. The microbrewery craze is just getting started as new establishments are popping up around the country. Will EMU produce the next pioneer of the brewing world? Only time will tell, but for now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice cold one. Cheers. 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 Cheers.